Hello and welcome back to Farmer's Wife Homestead. I'm Stacey if this is the first time we are meeting. Welcome back to the farmhouse kitchen. Today we are going to be, well, I'm attempting to, try and recreate one of my husband's favourite childhood recipes. Now, we got to talking, this is a little while ago, we got to talking about tuna and he says, I love tuna casserole, and I'm like, I'm not a huge fan of hot tuna. The way I like to eat it is just cold with a bit of vinegar, salt and pepper, and on a hot piece of toast. So I'm like, I don't know if it's for me. But he said there was two meals that he loved as a childhood memory, and one was tuna casserole and the other was scotched eggs. Now, I've made scotched eggs many times. It's been very long time since I've done it, but I do know them. But I don't know tuna casserole. Now, for his memory, tuna casserole doesn't have pasta in it. And when I looked online, almost every single recipe had pasta in it. And he's adamant that it did not have pasta. So as his memory serves, it was tuna in a sort of like a cheesy bechamel sauce with peas through it and crushed potato chips on the top. So I've seen other recipes with crushed cornflakes on top and heaps of recipes with like buttered panko crumbs. So I'm going to try and recreate it as best as how he remembers it. I personally would probably zhuzh it up a little bit more, but I want to, keep it nice and basic and simple. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, so tuna was on special last week at Countdown, and these are 185 gram tins, and they were $2.89 each. So I'm like, oh, perfect. I'm going to grab 2 tins. But that's just under 400 grams, and I had a little one in the pantry as well. So I'm going to use all of those. So it's just under 500 grams of tuna. So, maybe $6 for those. And then, as I said, it's got some peas. I went and grabbed 2 bags of just ready salted plain chips. You know what it's like. The bag's this big, but the chippies are only this much. I know that they put the air in the air to stop them from crushing and things like that, but still, I figured that if you want a nice topping, that 1 bag wasn't going to be enough, but we'll see. And it's basically just a bechamel, but I am going to add a little bit of cheese in it. And yeah, we'll just go from there. And then I told husband I was going to do it today, and then I said he had to do a reaction. I said he didn't have to be on camera because he is a little bit camera shy, which is fine. I don't mind that, but he's going to try it and he will give his opinion. And knowing my husband, goodness knows what he's going to say. His sense of humour is... It's kind of like mine. So yeah, hopefully I don't have to, bleep out a whole heap of words. And bless his heart. I just love him the way he is. Anyway, let's get to making this recipe. Okay, I've just had a thought. I can't remember if he said if it had hard-boiled eggs in it. I know our childhood fish pies did, but I don't think this did, so I'm not going to add it. I could be making a grave mistake. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is, my pots are in the dishwasher, is we're just going to start on the sauce. And I will, if he likes it and if it's good and it gets the husband tick of approval, I'll write up the recipe and pop it on the website so you can get it yourself. So I'm just going to, I might do it in a frying pan actually. Like using my big stainless steel frying pan. I do have cast iron pans as well, but I just don't get into the habit of using them. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of the lovely sunflower oil that I have. But for flavour, I'm also going to add some butter. Ooh, that's super hot. And get those onions straight in. I'll take that off the heat for a second. And need a pinch of salt to help sweat out those onions. We don't want to caramelise them, we just want them to become transparent and cook down. So I'm just going to turn that down to medium, and I highly doubt that this was in his recipe, but I am just going to, I can't help myself, I'm just going to put one little puck of garlic. I just can't help myself. So we're just going to cook this down for a couple of minutes while I get the tuna all ready. Okay. So there's still a bit of residue of the butter and oil. That's good. That's what we want. Now I'm just going to come in with sort of heaping tablespoons. Can you kind of see? I've just got a proper, you know, spoon that you use for desserts and that. So I'm just going to pop that in there, and we're just going to cook off that flour for a little bit. And you need that fat. In fact, I need just a little bit more. So I'm just going to add just a touch more oil. You need that fat to absorb into that flour. And you want to cook it for a little bit too, just to take that raw flour taste. I'm going to swap over to a whisk for now. I'm going to get my milk ready. Now, because I'm making this recipe up as we're doing it, I'm not sure how much milk it's going to take, but we'll start with that. Get that ball of flour and onions out. Right, so we're going to put in about half. Get that whisk in there and let it start absorbing that flour. And now that it's thick, add the rest. So obviously if you wanted to add pasta to this, go for it. But as I said, I am recreating my husband's memory, and back when we grew up, we're both 52, back when we grew up, there wasn't a lot of pasta around. Okay, so I'm also just going to add just a little bit of veggie stock to give it a little bit of extra flavour. Some pepper. And in the meantime, I'm just draining the 2 cans of tuna, oh sorry, the 3 cans, in a colander, just to get rid of some of that oil. Right, I'm just going to taste the sauce. See if I need to add anything to it. It's quite delish as it is. I think I want to add some dried mustard. Just a really small amount of dried mustard. I don't know, just a pinch. Now it also needs a little bit of extra salt, so I'm just going to add a little bit more, remembering that we're using salted chips as well. Right, I'm going to add another cup of milk. And I've got a packed in cup of grated mild cheese. Use whatever cheese you've got. Just going to whisk that in. Might add a little bit more pepper. Some parsley would be really good. I don't have any at the moment, but the peas will give it a pop of colour. So I've got about 1.5 cups of frozen peas. Right, now we're just going to add in the tuna. Now, the tuna isn't that chunky, like that's probably one of the biggest pieces. They're quite, otherwise it's quite small. You don't want to stir it too vigorously, because you don't want to break up the tuna too much. Well, I'm only imagining, but that's what my gut's telling me to do. This is going to bake in the oven as well, but we just want to make sure that it's all incorporated. And I would serve this with mashed potato on the side, would be lovely. And some green beans, something like that would be nice. That's how I think I'm going to serve it. Another wee test taste. Make sure that everything's balanced. Oh wow! I wasn't expecting to like that. Wow, okay, all right, I'm a fan. Let's see what it's like when it's all said and done and everything's together. It does need more seasoning. I'm going to put even more pepper in. And a splodge more salt. Now you don't have to heat this up till it's hot, because it is going to heat up in the oven, so I'm just going to turn that on. And I'm just going to grab a casserole dish. I don't know if it's supposed to be thicker, probably, because there's no pasta to suck up all the juice, but I figure and get all that goodness in there. I figure that it may thicken up on cooking, and you know, the potato chips may thicken it up slightly as well. That's why it'll be perfect with mashed potato. So it's a 150 gram bag of potato chips. These are our potato chips. So I'm thinking I've got to crush them just a little bit. And I want a thick layer. But you don't want to crush them too much either. I think I just need about half of the second bag. Not quite covering it. And I think you're really going to want that crunch. That's looking good. Right, and I think some butter on top would be good, but I don't know. He reckons butter was on top, but then is that too much? It's already got oil in it. I'll tell you what, I'll melt a little bit and we'll pour a little bit on. Right, so I've got some melted butter. Oh yeah, I can kind of see how this would work. It's 1 tablespoon. Yeah, a couple of tablespoons. Right, let's pop this in the oven. Oh, 'tis the season for blowflies. Out you go. If you haven't been around for long, you'll know that I quite often do the blowfly dance, getting them out the window. How super quick and easy is that? And very minimal ingredients. I know, I would reckon it would be very cheap to make. And if you wanted to bulk it up, then you would just add some pasta. So I've popped that in the oven. I've got it on, I don't know, about 160 on fan bake, remembering that fan bake is you add 20, well this is what I've read anyway, you add 20 and then it makes what am I trying to say? So if you're to bake it at 180, that would be 200 on fan bake. So I've pared it back 20, so 160 fan bake is 180 on bake. Does that make sense? Anywho, I've set the timer for 15 minutes, and because you know the tuna was all hot, and you don't really need to cook anything, and you don't want to cook it too long because you want those peas to stay nice and crisp and green. And yeah, I'm cooking this in mid-afternoon so I could film it all up, and I'm not sure when husband's going to get home, so things might not be as crispy. he did have strict instructions to come home regularly so that I could get him to test it, but he's busy, so it is what it is. And I will definitely do mashed potato and all the rest for to go with it. Alright, I will come back once this is nice, crispy and nice on the top. Is it supposed to look like that?
No.
No, what do you mean no?
You're going to crush up the chilies.
I did crush them up.
No, crush them.
Oh. Language. I had some really smally crushed and then I thought some bigger ones for a bit of texture. So that was my way of thinking. Right. Farmer's potty.
My old man would be rolling in a grave.
Oh, I don't know. See, I still think it needs to be thicker as well.
Yeah, just like me.
I'll try and get the crushed ones. Alright, super hot. But I figured if it was a little on the runnier side, it's okay because the mashed potato will... You're going to burn your mouth. Well, I hope you don't, but... It's a little bit too hot for you to get a proper taste. A little bit of everything, dear.
I heard.
He's gone and got the tiniest little chips. But it's whether the flavour's there. Oh, we've gone for a big chip now.
We've got some of that green stuff in it too.
Yep, peas. You said there was peas in it. But I
Try
tried...
to get some greens.
Yeah, well I tried ringing because I couldn't remember if it had egg or not. He's burning his mouth currently. Never heard him so quiet. Now he's blowing his mouth.
That's hot.
I told you.
Need a colder oven.
Well, I've had to resort to using the spoon again, so...
Not that naughty.
Okay. Oh, goodness. He keeps going back for more, so it must be okay. It definitely does need to be thicker. So I would not add that extra cup of milk. Why don't I try it? Okay. I want to try it with a crispy chip. This isn't going to be very delicate to eat on camera. It's alright for you. I like that.
It's good.
And I didn't say, and I said I wouldn't like it.
It's lovely. It's something I love it.
I actually like the big chips in it.
Yes, I like them sort of the smaller ones.
So he prefers them small. I prefer them big because then it gives the texture that I was talking about. But the taste is lovely. Well, I think so. Oh.
Hot.
Oh.
Be just a little bit thicker. Okay. And I think sometimes we had egg in it, but sometimes not, but you don't need it.
That's seriously delish.
It's good, eh?
Yeah, and I didn't think I was going to do hot tuna. Definitely, I should have gone with my gut feeling, which was the 2 cups of milk. But that's all good. I'll write up the recipe if you are interested in it.
You can see why as a kid it's a great.
Yeah.
I just loved it.
Yeah, and so cheap to make, which is great in these times. Hey, hun.
Yeah.
He's almost polished off that plate, so I'll put that aside. Like I said, I'll have mash with it, even though we've got the potatoes on top. And or how would you have it? How did you have it? Or was it just a plate of this?
No, it had spud on the side.
Even though it's got spud on the top.
Good old raw potatoes on the side.
Yeah. He's a potato man just as I'm a potato lover myself. All right. Thank you for being the taste tester.
That's right, you've done well, babe.
For something I've never tasted.
Congratulations.
All right, so I can safely say that for me was almost a shut the front gate recipe. I think if it, for me it would have been a shut the front gate if I had done it thicker like I originally had it. So yeah, so the actual written recipe on the website will be a shut the front gate recipe. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Keep an eye out for the next recreating hubby's favourite childhood dishes, and that'll be the scotched eggs. And thank you as always for visiting, and I hope to see you on the next one. Alright, bye for now.